Good morning, boys and girls. Today is Monday, August 31st. In today's math lesson, we're going to go over our base 10 system. Now, what you see on the screen is your place value mat all the way from the ones place to the thousands place. And we're going to look at some of the blocks for the base 10 system. Now, we're going to be playing around with these blocks, and you will realize by the end of this lesson why the base 10 system is called base 10. So let's start with the yellow block. These are your ones, that little cube. This is your tens block. And notice it has 10 little green squares in there. This is our hundreds block. And then our thousands block. Now that's as high as it gets with our base 10 blocks. We don't have a 10,000s or 100,000s block. So that's why we're stopping at the thousands place today. So in each place, we should know that we can only write one digit. So the highest digit you could put down here is a 9. So let me go ahead and write that. So 9 is the highest digit. We can't put a 10 because that ends up being 2 digits. That 1 would end up being over in the tens place, okay? So the highest amount you can have in each place is 9. Once you get to 10, it's gonna have to go to the next place value, okay? That's why it's called the base 10 system. Let's erase this. It takes 10 of these blocks, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It takes 10 of these to make a tens rod. We can call this a rod. So if I put all of these together, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I would now have all of these ones and change them into a 10. Okay? So that's why we call it the base 10 system. It takes 10 ones to make one 10. 1 10. 10 ones to make 1 10. Okay? Now let's look at the hundreds block. How many of these green rods do you think make 100 block or a flat? Okay, well, let's skip count by 10 since we're in the tens place and see how many times we count to get to 100. So you can count with me: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. I can stop there. Well, I counted 10 skips. So it would take 10 of the 10 rods to equal 100. Okay. Now, what about the thousands? If I skip by the hundreds, how many of the hundreds blocks would it take to equal 1,000? Okay, so let's skip count by 100. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000. And I skipped 10 times. So it takes 10 hundreds to make 1,000. So you see a pattern here? It takes 10 hundreds to make 1,000, 10 tens to make 100, 10 ones to make a 10. And you should also see a pattern here, the zeros. There's 1 0, 2 zeros, 3 zeros. It's adding a 0 every time. That's because as you move over, it is getting 10 times greater. Every time you move over, each place value gets 10 times greater. That's why you see a 0 added to the end, because it's getting bigger by 10 times, okay? So that's why it's called the base 10 system. Now you're going to have to use these blocks and create the standard form number. Let me erase all this real quick. So standard form means you're just going to put the blocks into a regular number. Now I'm going to clear out some of these ones blocks. So now I have 3, 4, 5, 6 in the ones place. So what we would do, let's go ahead and pretend like this is, I'm going to create a number using these blocks. And you're going to have to tell me the standard form. So how we would do this, if you had this on an assignment, first thing I want you to do is label your blocks. Okay? So let's go ahead and start in the ones place. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I have 10, 20, 30. So that would be 10, 20, 30. And we're going to label the hundreds block. So we skip by 100. That would be 100, 200. Now our thousands. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. So we have 3,230 and 6. Now what you can do is take these values and add them up. Okay? So I have 3,000, 200, and notice I'm going to line it up nice and neat. If we don't line it up nice and neat, we're going to get it wrong. The next one is 30, and then 6. The 6 is lined up with your ones place. We add them up, and now we will get our answer to put it in standard form. 0 plus 2, 3 plus nothing. There's nothing here, so I just bring that straight down. So there is my standard form number. I'm trying to label this for you so you can see. And this box popped up. Okay. Standard form. Okay. So standard form is just the number by itself. Let's see if we can make this bigger for you. There we go. Now you can see standard form, it just looks like this. We put these blocks into a number, okay? So what you need to remember when you're doing place value blocks, you need to label each category or each place value with the total amount, and then we're going to add it up, okay? So let's try another one. I erased all of this for you guys, and I'm going to put some new blocks out on the screen, and I want you to try to pause the video and put the blocks in standard form. Tell me what it equals. Okay, now we're all clear. I'm going to clear out some of my blocks. put this in standard form. I'm gonna start. It doesn't really matter where you start. We can start from the thousands place this time. We're gonna label the blocks. If I have 1,000 block, that is worth 1,000. Now let's count our hundreds. We can skip by 100 and label those blocks. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. Okay, now we're going to label the 10. Skipping by 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And then the ones place, we have 1, 2, 3 ones. Okay, now we're going to add those up. The reason we want to add is because when we get into more challenging problems, you're going to have some place values that carry over to, let's say your tens, you had like 12 of them. Well, 12 tens is going to actually equal 120. So if you just put 12 down in your tens place, that's not going to work. You can't have higher than 9. So that's why we want to go ahead and write the value and then add them up. Okay? So 500, line it up in the correct place, 60, and then 3. Standard form, I'm just going to add this up and I will get my standard form. 6, 5, 1. 1,563 is your standard form. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, so let me show you kind of a challenge one like what I was talking about. If we don't label and write the value, how it can mess us up. Okay, so let's go ahead and just keep everything the same, and I'm going to add some more 10. Okay, so let's say you all you did was put in your mat, you put a 1 in your thousands place, and you just tried to do it without counting, and you just said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 5 in my hundreds place. And then you said, okay, I'm going to count my tens. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11. So then you just went down here and you put 11. And then you put 1, 2, 3 in your ones place. Okay, now what's wrong with this number? After the comma, let's see, here's our comma. After the comma, we should only have 3 places, so 3 digits. But as you can see here, because I put 11 in the tens place, I ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4 places. So this is incorrect. This is why we want to skip count and add them up. Okay, so this is the wrong way. Let me change colors. Wrong way to do it. Okay, to guarantee that you get it right every time, I want you to label those blocks like we did at the beginning. So this was 600. And now we're going to skip count by tens. Instead of just saying 11 tens, we need to count by tens. So this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So what just happened here? I had 100. So what I can actually do is take these 10 tens and turn them into another 100. So now instead of actually having 600, I would have 700. 700 now, because I took all of these and changed them into another 100. Then I'm left with 110. So the value would be 10. And the same thing here. So now let's write it all out and add it up and see what we get. 700, 10, and 3. 3, 0 plus 1 is 1. 0 plus 7 is 7. And 1 plus nothing is 1. Now see how this was way off. We have 1,713 into our standard form. Okay, another way you could do it, let's just say we didn't regroup all of these 10s into another 100. We could still go ahead and skip count. So we would have said, pencil back, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So this would actually end up being 110. 11 tens is 110. So we added up an extra 100 before, but let's just say we didn't convert it. We just kept it the same. This would have been 600s instead of 7. And 110 now when you get to the tens place. And then 3 1. So notice how I end up with not just 6 in the hundreds place. I have a 1 in the hundreds place because all of these tens, these top 10, changed into another 100. So let's add it up. 3, 1, 7. So it actually turns out to be 1,713, which is the same answer as when we took these 10 and put them in a 100 block. Okay? Now you understand why I want you to add, because if you just had put, oh, well, I got 11 tens, I'm going to put 11 in the tens place, that would have messed up your number and you would get the answer wrong. Okay? Let's try a couple more. So just make sure that when you're doing the blocks, you label them and then add them up. That's your goal today for your assignment. Label them and then add them up. Okay, let's get rid of some of these blue blocks now. Okay, well, let's just say this is my number. We want to put it in standard form. So first thing, we're going to skip count and label each of the blocks. After we label each value, we're going to put them in standard form by adding them up. Okay, so let's start with our thousands place. We have 1,000. 2,000. Okay, so that's the value of your thousands place. Now I get to the hundreds and I have nothing there, so I would just skip it. Now we go to our tens. We're going to skip by 10. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So 8 tens has a value of 80. And we go to our ones. We have 1, 2. Has a value of 2. Okay, now let's put it in standard form. That means we're going to put all of these blocks together into a regular number. So I have 2,000. No hundreds, so I'm just going to skip it, and then I'm going to put 80, and we're going to add all these up. Okay, starting in our ones place, I have 2 in the ones, 8 in the tens, 0 in the hundreds, and 2 in the thousands. So see how each place matches the amount of blocks. I have 2 in the thousands place. I had 2 blocks. 0 in the hundreds place because I had 0 blocks. 8 in the tens place because I had 8 of the rods. And 2 in the ones place because I had 2 blocks in the ones place. Okay? So that's how you're going to do your assignment today. I want you to make sure you're labeling those blocks adding them up to get your standard form. Remember, standard form just means the regular number. And you may think it's a lot of work just to say, okay, well, there's 2. I'm just going to put 2 down. 0, 8, 2. Well, I can count and just put the numbers down. But like I said in the last example, sometimes you get more than just 8. If you get more than 10, then it's got to change into an extra 100. So that's why we practice it this way. Make sure you're adding each value up. Okay? I hope this lesson helps you. If you need more practice or you have any questions, just let me know through Remind, or we can do it during our Zoom lesson today. Okay?